In this problem, we're supposed to compute the area of this lake, but I mean, it's kind of a dumb way to do it, but we'll do the area of the triangle instead, because I don't know what shape the lake is, some sort of weird oval. And so what we'll do is we'll remember the area formula for a triangle, 1/2 times base times height. Hopefully you know that. If you don't, there it is. And so I need to know the height and the base of this triangle. So here's how this is going to shake out. I'm going to do this using two sort of subtriangles. And I realize that this is going to feel a little bit, well, I don't know. I guess because of the way that this is oriented, I'm going to do it this way. If you don't like it, that's, I guess that's the way it is. So I'm going to use that for my height. And this will be the base. And then that's pretty much it. So let's get to it. Let's deal with the height first. The height is easy because you're just going to use this right triangle that you see right here. I'll draw it in purple, and then maybe I can just slide it over. There it is. This is the height over here, and this is 500, and this is 30 degrees, and this is a right triangle. So using SOHCAHTOA, sine of 30 is equal to h over 500. I don't even know if we need to do this. Well, we will. 1/2 is h over 500, so h is equal to 250. Okay, so that wasn't too bad. Then the base, that's going to be a little bit harder. I'm going to erase my height there. Maybe I should just put this in really quick there. Just for anyone who decides not to watch the video, at least they'll be able to see what's going on, sort of figure it out from looking at this piece of artwork that I've made. Let's see, slide that over a bit. Okay, so I need to know the base now. And to get that base, I'm going to use the law of sines. So this top angle, whoa, I don't know why that did that. Get back to where I was. There it is. So that top angle is going to be 76 degrees, I believe. You want the total, so 30 plus 74 plus question mark is equal to 180. So the question mark is 76. There you go. So that's 76 degrees. Now we'll use the law of sines, and we end up with b over the sine of 76. This is backwards from the way that I've been doing it in class, but you can flip these over. It's fine. So that means that b is equal to 500 times the sine of 76 over the sine of 74. I'm going to go ahead and type this into my calculator. Let's see, is that this one? Hopefully it is. We have our two angles. Is that right? Yes. So 74 and 500 and 76. And I got it 504. Not a big difference. So B ends up being 504 point, where'd it go? 699. Okay, almost done. Now 1/2 base times height. The area, 1/2 times 504.699 times the height, 250. So that area, let's see. Give me a sec here. This one I didn't have typed in. 250. And I got 63,087. 0.375. So that's in square feet, is that right? Yeah, square feet. All right, very nice. Okay, so this next one, two sides of a triangle, A, B, and we're given beta. Okay, so we have this beta is 20 degrees, A is 5, alpha, whoops, and then B is 8. So this question, does this result in 1, 2, or no triangles? So this is that dreaded side-side angle case. And anytime I have a side-side angle case, there are rules that I could find. You know, I could go over all the rules, but the way that I usually figure this out is I just try it out and see what happens. How many triangles can I make using this? So I start off assuming that there are going to be two triangles. So are there two? Question mark. Let's assume that there are, and then we'll back off if we need to. And of course, if we run into a problem, like if there's something like the sine of an angle is bigger than 1, then we know that there's no triangle. So let's see, this is going to be the sine of alpha. So it's going to be with this first calculation that you'll be able to tell whether or not there's 1, 2, or 0 triangles. So you do this first calculation, we end up with the sine of alpha is equal to 5 sine of 20 over 8. So I'm going to need to go ahead and compute this. Let's see, give me a sec here. I did not set this one up ahead of time. I should have. So let's see, we have 20 degrees, and then, let's see, 8 and 5. Okay, let's see if this one gives me my answer. Scroll down. And I've got, this gives me that the sine, I'm getting 0.21376, and I have alpha is equal to 12.343 degrees. Okay, so this is going to 12.343 degrees. Okay, so here's the way that I once again, I'm going to say, is it 2? So if it was 2, then the other one would be 180 minus that, because it would have the same reference angle as the first triangle, or the first angle. 6, 5, 7. Okay, so let's see. Do both of these make sense? First of all, there's at least one triangle, because that does make sense. So does this other one make any sense? Well, first of all, let's compute gamma. So if alpha is equal to this, then gamma is 180 minus 12. Oops, I've run out of room. 12.34 minus 20, which actually you can compute that, and you'll find that it actually has a number. Let me go ahead and do that for you. 180 minus 12.34 minus 20. And I just got to get set up for my, well, there we go. So I've got 147. Let me make this smaller. Ooh, weird. It's all moving at once. Okay, so that becomes 147.6. And then this other one ends up not working, because your gamma would have to equal 180 minus 168.657 minus 20. And that is actually, let's see, that's going to be a negative number, and it doesn't make any sense to have a negative number as an angle. 168.657. And that ends up being negative 8 point something or other. Now, I know some of you are going to want to know what are the rules. So let's give you the rules. Let's see, we did some of the rules in class, but here are the rules for this type of a problem. So the rules. Let's see. So this is all going to be based on the B. So in this case, if you're given A, B, and beta, so it's going to be based on that side. So if B is less than A times the sine of the angle, then there's no triangles. No triangle. If B is equal to A sine, oh, I should write this beta, then there's exactly one triangle. Now, if, let's see, A sine of beta is less than B, which is less than A, then there are two triangles. And then if B is greater than A, we're back to one triangle. So if you really want to memorize all of these rules, you can go ahead and do that. Or you can experiment. I was always a big fan of experimentation instead of memorization, but if the memorization helps, you go ahead. One more, number 5, rectangular box. And so here we're actually going to have to solve several triangles. We want to know the measure of that angle. And so I'm going to actually solve, let's see, using, okay, how about this? We'll do this. We'll just solve each of these diagonals. So let's do it this way, HC. So we'll call that HC, that's this here, and there's HC. So HC squared is going to equal 8 squared plus 10 squared, and the reason for that is because you can kind of see in there's a right triangle. In fact, all 3 of these have right triangles associated with them, those 3 dotted lines, but the HC is the easiest one to see. So HC squared is 164. I'm just going to leave it like that. Now let's do AC. Let me do this in a different color. There. AC squared is equal to 6 squared plus 10 squared. So you can kind of see that triangle kind of on the floor of the box, if you want to think of this as a box. And so AC squared, so AC squared is going to be 136. AC will be the square root of that, but as you're going to see, we're not going to really care about AC at all. And then finally, AH or HA, let's use HA because that's much more fun, is going to be 6 squared plus 8 squared. So HA squared is 100. Now, that angle, notice it's part of this triangle, the multicolored triangle. And so I'm going to use the law of cosines. And specifically, the opposite side squared is going to equal the 2 adjacent sides squared. So now you can, oh, you know what, I just realized I do need the square root for this next bit. Okay, well, 2 times AC times HA. Of course, I ran out of room. I lost the bar on my H. There we go. Times the cosine of the angle. So you can look at that over and make sure it makes sense. Now let's plug in the numbers that we know, and we'll do the square roots for the stuff that I left out there. So we have 164 is equal to 136 plus 100 minus 2 times the square root of 136 times the square root of 100, cosine of the angle. Give me a minute. So I've got 164 minus 136 minus 100 all over 2 times the square root of 136, and I happen to know what the square root of 100 is. 236 minus 164. I'm scared I'm going to get this wrong, so I'm just going to type it into my calculator on my computer. 164 minus 236. And I got negative 72. Oh, this should be a negative down here as well because of the negative 2 up top. Okay, so negative 72. Do I want to simplify it further? I'll do this. Okay, so I finally got this calculated. The cosine of the angle is 0.3087, and the angle itself is a little bit over 72 degrees, 72.0192 degrees. Lovely. Is that it? That is number 5. Great. All right, thanks for watching. Don't forget to smash that like button.